Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamshachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadguru. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We salute Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the destroyer of the demons, Kamsa and Chanura, the dear darling of the mother Devaki, and the Guru of the entire universe. We salute him again and again. Oh, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So we are continuing our reading of the Bhagavatam, and we start from the 7th chapter of the book number 5. Previously we read that Rishabha, who was incarnation of God, he became a realized soul, and he himself proven to be the Lord of the universe, God himself. And he showed that how to lead a spiritual life. So he was the king of entire country, and he, with his diligent effort, ruled the country, served the country, and in matured age, he wanted to install his son, who is Bharata, as the king, and took retirement. That is the ancient Indian style. Student life, married life, retired life, and monk's life. So he lived the life very wonderfully and established rules and regulations in the country. The country was prosperous, everyone was happy in his presence. And then at matured age, he wanted to retire and go, renounce everything, and become a wandering mendicant. That's a great teaching of any emperor or any king can do that. It is beyond our normal perception. Suppose the king of this country will be a monk next day, begging his bowl for his food, with no enough clothing, no enough place to stay, just wandering under the tree, under the uh, sky. It's a very great ideal of India. It is called the renunciation and sacrifice. And purpose is God realization. So he did that, and before he left his life, he installed his son. This son is Bharata. He was highly educated, he was well trained, he was also having high, great values of life and efficient. So he was installed as the ruler of the country, and the father Rishabha then went in like a monastic life and lead a life, and then ultimately merged into God consciousness. Now, the 7th chapter starts the story of Bharata. The narrator is Shukadeva. Shukadeva says this story on his father when he is resolving to install him, means Bharata, as a ruler. The pious Bharata made himself ready for his duties, and he married Panchajani, the daughter of Vishnu. And through that wife, he got 5 children, and these 5 sons were their names have been given. It was from the time of Bharata's rule, that whole land till we know Aggavatsa, that means Bharatavarsha, what is the name of India, came from the name of this Bharata. That learned king means this Bharata, following the example of his illustrious father, who is the Rishava, and his grandfather, his father, observed his Swadharma. Swadharma means his rules. What is, as a king, one should behave like that. King should be an ideal. He should treat his all subjects like his own son. He will not think of his own personal protection, rather protect the interest of the subjects of the country. So he observed his Swadharma, the rule of his subjects, with great affection for them, encouraging them to follow their Swadharma. That's also great teaching of the ancient India. Swadharma is your own dharma. What is your own dharma? A student has a dharma. A father has a dharma. An engineer has a dharma. A doctor has a dharma. That means what makes him special for that? That is called his dharma to follow. To every field of life, in every situation, everyone has their own duties. Rather, dharma means here ordained duties, what are to be done. So he encouraged that everyone will be following their own dharma. That is a great thing to learn. Society will be a beautiful society if everyone performs his dharma or duty perfectly. Say a mother performs mother's duty. The son performs his son's duty. Student's duty. Teacher's duty. Perfectly, if everyone does that, the society becomes the best society. So the king himself, the Bharata, himself followed that principle and he installed that idea in the minds of the subjects to encourage them to follow their own dharma. A Brahmin has a dharma, a Kshatriya warrior has a dharma, non-military has a dharma, protect the country, protect the interest of people. Police has a department, they have a dharma. So in the field of law, everyone has a dharma. So everyone should perform their dharma perfectly, makes an ideal society. So he encouraged that, and the Lord is of the form of Jagna, the Krotu, the two forms of sacrifice without and with the installation of the sacrificial post. He is to be worshipped by those two forms of sacrifice. That means God is to be worshipped in two forms, one by offering some offering of oblation in the home of fire, and another is called Krutu, a sacrifice without installing any sacrificial post. With great faith, he, means the Bharata, performed according to his capacity, at proper times made many sacrifices, like all these sacrificial fires. Their ancient time they call Agnihotra, Chaturmaso, Pushubandha, Somojago, etc., etc. Those rituals were the duty of everyone to perform. In some type of modern age, we have no practice of such rituals. They are rituals in a fire. In ancient idea is that you can attain everything by performing the rituals in the sacrificial fire. We do that in Ramakrishna Puja time. No, we offer some oblation and offer Ramakrishna Swaha. This is Brahma Saraswati Swaha, Gurave Swaha. That means we offer in the name of everyone and with the pure mind done, that creates a spiritual mind. So, different purpose, these jagnas, they are called jagnas. They are called sacrificial fires. People used to perform that to attain different goals. So he said that he himself performed all types of jagnas, and in modern time we call selfless activity. In early days, that was the jagna is another term to offer it to God. Do your thing, offer it to God. When various jagnas with their many subsidiary rites were being performed, Bharata The master of the Jagnas offered all the fruits accruing from them to Vasudeva, who is Parabrahman, who is the form of Jagna. So, performing all these Jagnas, that will bring some good merit. If you do this, then you go to heaven. You do this, you go to this higher plane. You become healthy. You become everything can be achieved. In ancient time, they used to do Vedic rituals, and that ritual was the home fire. So those different names are there, how to perform. And in the Vedas, you can find some instructions are there. And the king, in according to the protocol of that time, performed all these jagnas. But he did not keep this sacrificial fire for his own personal power, position, name, fame, glory. No, he offered everything to God. Let the result go to God. As we say, you do the same karma. You can take the credit, I did, I did, I did. But you can say, I offer it to God. Then your ego goes away. Then you become spiritual. So that practice was continuing. That who is so this Bharata performed all these rituals and offered his result at the feet of the Lord Vasudeva Bhagavan, who is in the form of Jagna, who is the controller of the Vedic mantras and the deities invoked thereby, and who is the ultimate doer and master of all work. So God is the doer actually. He has created this universe. It is his plan going on. You just offer it to him. That means you do your karma, offer it to God. Don't keep it for you, for your personal gain, because then you will attain the merit of doing good karma, but it will get exhausted. Again, you can have some experience of little enjoyment and fun, but that is temporary. It will be exhausted. Then you will have to do again somewhere. So he was wise. He offered everything to God. Powerful currents of bhakti developed in the heart of Bharata. Because every day, whenever you are performing the duty, if you mentally think, oh Lord, I offer everything unto you, its results, whatever is good, effect, I offer unto you. Give me love. So I offer it to you, you give me love. If with this prayer, what happens? The person becomes spiritual, more full of devotion, bhakti, love. So Bharata, performing his duties and performing these home fires, etc., he became a powerful personality in bhakti, devotion. Devotion grew him in more and more profoundly. And he was purified by that process of above mentioned process of the spiritual sacrificial fire. And then shone it into the form of the Lord Vasudeva in all splendor of his supreme majesty with marks of the Srivatsa, Kaustubha, etc., as revealed in the heart of other great devotees. So what he did, he offered everything, worked incessantly, hard, offered all this jagna and his results at the feet of the Lord, and not expecting any material gain and output from that. What happened? Then he grew in love for God and devotion for God. And that devotion showed to his face, to his personality, to his action. It happens, no? If you become a devotee of God, your performance, your action, your words, your um, dealing with the world will all change. People will see that you are a transformed personality. So, Bharata, performing this way, being the king of the whole India, and then, or you can say the emperor of the India. That time India was extended to Kabul, Kandahar, and other areas also. So he became the king, but at the same time a devotee of God. And kingship is not important. Important is love for God, to be fully absorbed in the bliss of God. That's the goal of life. So that India shows, and these stories are coming again and again of such people who lived. It's a history. It falls in the Purana, almost a history. But some say no, it is our concocted stories. But we believe that it is a history in one time in in the past it happened. So this love which he grew for God by offering every action, performing anything at the feet of the Lord, he became full of love for God inside, and his devotion find an expression in the face, in his personality, in his action, in his movement. Now, after he ruled for long years, he felt that he had completed his allotted period of active life. Again, India is such. He also, like his father, performed all his duties, continued to do for a long time, attained a period of maturity in life. Then he divided his ancestral kingdom and wealth among his sons, and abandoning his luxurious palace, went away as a wandering ascetic to Pulasrama, a famous place of worship of Srihari. She went to an isolated place whose name is Pulasrama. What is the speciality of that place? People go to perform devotional practices and prayers for God. They being away from the duties and responsibilities and everything dedicated to God. That we call nowadays people want to go into retreat. Retreat center, there are many people, but these early days retreat was totally to yourself. Go to a holy place in the forest where sages are meditating. Go to that atmosphere and build up your spirituality more profoundly. And duty is done enough. Enough is enough. But in America, we have no end of duty. No. But earlier days, they have the end of duty. This duty is done. Another duty is there to know myself, to be lover of God and to be absorbed in the bliss of God. I know what is the joy this world can give, what is the material things can bring pleasure and all these achievements. But there is an end. I want endless joy. So they go into the seclusion. So here, Bharata, after ruling the country for long years, installing the principles of love and purity in the society, and then divided his all the whole what you call this his dominant country into parts and give responsibility to his children, and he himself became a wandering monk. That is a very very special thing for India. The king today he is the king, tomorrow he is just a wandering monk. How come possible? Your body can take with so much luxury you have built up your body, and now you will be under the sun and rain. There is no blanket, there is no, he's have one blanket, but there is no blanket. So no blanket, nothing, it's just a wandering monk, begging bowl in hand. Huh? How come it's possible? That's the greatness of renunciation. So he went to the famous place and where the Lord God is worshipped as Hari. In that place, Srihari, out of love for his devotees, manifests to their vision in various attractive form. And that place is very much famous because those who do go and do practice, God appears to them in various divine form to invoke their devotion more. That place is purified by the river Gandaki, wherein one gets the Lord Vishnu's emblem, Salagram, and which has cavities with the symbolic design. So that in the Gandaki river, on the bank of Gandaki river, one river called Gandaki, there he went and they started meditating and praying, and there you can get the Salagram Sila. Salagram Sila is some stone which is called God, Lord Vishnu, is symbolized in that. It has a special type of stone. Some cavity is there one side, and the shape is little different than that of.
Shows some chakra.
So all these symbols are there also, and that's how it happens. God knows, but that special is worshipped in the temple, in Vishnu temple, Hindu temple, when you go, they'll keep that stone, very special stone. They think it is a, and all the signs of the Lord, signs of his, what is called, chakra in the
Discuss.
discuss, and all these are marked in the stone.
Is it a big stone or a
It
little
may be different size, maybe big, maybe small,
some big?
and people collect them and do worship as Lord Narayana. That is symbolic design on both sides, abandoning all desires from the heart, alone, peaceful, and blissful at heart. He stayed there in a thinly wooded locality, but thinly wooded in the forest, and continuously worshipping the Lord Hari Krishna with flowers, leaves, tulsi water, and food offering consisting of tuber, roots, and fruits. Because he is a monk. So how what will you worship? He worships every day. There's no other material things to offer. So flowers in the garden, in the forest, there will be so many flowering trees. Collect the flowers and offer it. Leaves, like it, we offer bell leaf, three petal leaves we offer, like leaves, tulsi, tulsi leaf, we have a tulsi leaf, is auspicious leaf, is offered to Lord Narayana. So that means whatever is available in the forest, free of any charge. So he used to collect those fruits and flowers and tulsi leaf and offering to what fruit? Fruits in that forest there will be some fruit trees also. So what is eatable? So he will pluck those fruits and offer it to. With that, he will used to perform the puja, offering every day. By the daily adoration of Sri Hari, in this way, the sentiment of devotion grew so strong in him as to melt his heart. So he became really a lover of God to the extreme, and his heart is melting in love with God. The massive bliss he experienced within expressed itself as horripilation all over the body. No? And real devotees who love God, actually, they find joy, tremendous joy. If you have seen such holy people who are really in the name of God, they're taking the name of God, the tears are rolling down the ears, and body is getting goosebump all over, the horripilation all over the body. So this king who retired and did this bhakti upasana, devotional practice, not with pomp and power, but with a humble humility, remaining, being in a secluded area in the forest, thinly wooded forest, and then worshipping God every day to the Narayana Shila, that Narayan stone, which collected on the bank of Gandaki. And then it is worshipped in the flowers and fruits and bell leaf, not tulsi leaf, and the fruits available in the village. And then it grew much day by this worship. His heart becomes much pure and purer and purer. The internal love for God becomes so very profound that his whole body is to find the expression of that as joy, expressing as goosebump, as horripilation. The massive bliss he experienced within expressed itself as horripilation all over the body. Anxious longing blinded him with profuse tears. When shall I? It is called the anxious waiting for God. Oh Lord, I have not seen you enough. Ramakrishna used to cry like that every day. Mother, I have not seen you. Please appear before me. So Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Chaitanya, he used to cry for God. And his eyes were soaked in water. And he said, and feel the pang of separation in the heart. When shall I see you? He said, like a human love, a lover and the beloved. They want to be together so that there is a pangs of separation. that intense separation he is feeling for God. His intellect got submerged in the lake of his heart, which is filled with joy of devotional experiences, generated by the constant contemplation of the ruby red feet of his most beloved Lord. That means thinking, meditating on the Lord, his mind is getting so much full of yearning for seeing him, having a personal vision experience. Disciplining himself in a devotional practices, he wore a dress of a deer skin. And know what in there is no clothing, but in the forest you can get some dead deer. So deer skin here and there. So using those as his dress, clothing, wearing and which is with his curly matted hair, because it is no what do you call, no soap, no oil. It is just a mendicant sadhu, holy man. So it's matted lock and with a deer skin, the hair turned tawny and wet by constant bath at the times of worship. And the Vaishnavas, they do purify themselves. Every now and then they go and take a shower if there is any thinking, I'll be more pure, purer and purer and purer. He stood before the brilliant rising sun at dawn, invoking him as Surya Narayana with the folk of Rig Veda descriptive of his glory. He used to then, looking at the sun, at the point of rising sun, he used to stand before the sun. And the Rig Vedic mantra is there for worship of the sun god. So he used to worship the sun god with this type of prayer. What prayer? The glory of that sun. That's an eternal sun as if coming out, removing all the darkness of the heart. So he chanted the Rik descriptions of this glory. What is that? Quote. We seek refuge in that splendorous puissance that is Surya Narayana, the Lord manifested as the sun god, which is untouched by rajas, who bestowing the fruits of karma of all, the puissance that project the universe, indwells it and protects the jiva, pursuing his desires. The puissance we seek refuge for proper direction of our understanding. So he used to pray to the sun, so remove my darkness, beyond all rajas, beyond all tamas, and remove my all karma and this karma results of karma, because karma will bring you again into the world. One karma you do, good karma, you enjoy some pleasure or experience of happiness, and that karma exhausts, then you come back again, do work. So karma and karma phala, we are all whirling around karma phala. But if you don't give any karma phala, give it to God, then you will be exhausted. Then you will be free from bondage. The cycle of birth and death is because of the karma. Karma comes for why? I want to desire something, that's why I do karma. Is it not? You go to the shopping. Why do you go to the shopping? You need that item. If you don't need, don't you go to the shopping? No. Whatever we do, we have a necessity. We think it is needed for me. But if you think, I don't need anything, my whole life is dedicated to God. Whatever I do, I offer it to God. And then what happens? You have no reason to come do any karma again because you have no desire. If you are not hungry, will you cook that day? If you don't need any shirt, will you go to the Macy's? If you need something, that's where you go for and move and do some action. So when there is no need of anything, because you are doing only for the pleasure of God, You have no personal agenda, and you are free soul. You are not to be bound in the karma. So he says, "Oh, Son, God, you remove my all karma. I offer everything to you and make me effulgent like you." No? So that type of prayer he started doing and, and become pure by that. Now, this sadhana was going on very well. Bharata was totally absorbed in God and with this weeping in the name of God and getting horripilation all over the body and karma follow is given to. But again, he fell into the trap. As we happen in spiritual life, we will progress and we fall into trap of name, fame, power. Again it comes because it binds us all the time. Or your likes and dislikes. Even it may come in the form of compassion. Be careful. In spiritual life, there are all thousand hindrance, obstacles. Uh, Very careful in spiritual life. Otherwise, such advanced Bharata, what happened? That story, in the Ramakrishna Gospel, he says, Bharat, the king Bharat, what he did, he fell in love with a deer. Huh? And he loved the deer. Oh, his mother is died. No, so who will look after the deer? Very nice small deer. So he took care of the deer and started nurturing him and meditating. But now he started meditating, now thinking, oh, the deer may be gone out and some animal may come. So he gets up his meditation and goes to look after the deer, take care of the deer, feed the deer. So more and more started time going with the deer. And his meditation and prayer time is reducing and reducing. This happens for all our life. Look at that. Once you are very intense in your practice, and then this comes as a duty. But we select our duty. It's not as imposed. How many deers are there in the forest, no? But he fell in love with one deer. And his mother passed away, died. So the uncared for deer, and he thought that it is his responsibility to take. And then thinking of deer, he forgot his own spiritual practice gradually, and then what ruin came. So that is the story now in the 8th chapter. So we have finished with the 7th chapter, this is the 8th chapter. Yes.
Which book is this?
Bhagavat, Srimad Bhagavat. It is 1,000 verses. 1,000.
18,000, isn't it?
Yeah? How much? Proritai. It is a part of it is a part of a big book, Mahabharata, which is 100,000 verses. 100,000 verses composed by God. One great sage called Vyasa. Vyasa has composed this. So 100,000 verses. Out of that, this
18,000.
18,000.
Yeah.
This is 18.
18,000 verses in 335 chapters.
Yeah. So 35 chapters. We are on the 8th chapter now.
12 subdivision of books.
Okay. So they have divided this entire book in different book number 1, book number 2. We are in the book number 5 and chapter number 8. Anyhow, so this is a big book and it's full of stories, but there are morals. Every story, if you go, it will teach you how to love God, how to renounce the world, how to detach from our karma, and which brings bondage. How can we be offering the karma and results to God? So this instruction, inspiration is everywhere. So here, one thing to be noticed, that Bharata gave up his own kingdom, whole India. He was the emperor. Emperor became a wandering monk. See, that much renunciation, that much sacrifice, and engaged himself in day and night for spiritual practice and praying and crying and weeping for God and these things, and how he can be dropped, digressed from the path. a weak point. In the name of love, I want to love, but love God, don't love a deer. Love God, not the material. We love a person, we love a girl, we love a boy, we love money, we love name, we love fame. We do all these things. But the end result, zero. So this sometimes
If you love, but is there that other stories for Ajami, he also loved, but he just named it God's name. That much only.
God,
And he was saved.
true, Jamil remembered the Lord's name. And here he remembers the deer, deer, deer. Huh? The Lord's name, he has good practice. That's why when they remember the name of the Lord appeared because of his past good karma, which is not expressed in a way. But suppose you are practicing whole life the mantra and all these things. Huh? In between, you are very busy. But whenever the busy schedule goes away, spontaneously your mind will be remembering the Lord because of your practice. But he will also not go to astray, this Bharata, but it is saying a backlash, just fall off from your practice, as it were, being attached to anything. Don't get attached to anything. Love everything, do everything, but don't get attached. If you get attached, then it has its consequences. Suffering, pain, bereavement, all these things will come. Anyhow, so the eighth chapter starts where the Sukha, the narrator, he says, one day, Bharata, no, Bharata, no, Bharat, after finishing his ablution, taking a bath, his daily rites, sat on the bank of the river. With that river, what is the name? Gandaki river. He, on the bank of the river, he was meditating after taking a bath, meditating. About 3 muhurtas uttering the pranava. 3 muhurtas means sometime in the morning, chanting. How we do that? Oh, he was doing that, the daily practice. Sun is rising, and he took a bath, and on the bank of the river, he started his morning prayer and meditation. And meditation is on Om for quite time. O king means O Maharaj Parikshit, that O king. Just then, a solitary doe approached the river bank to quench her thirst. While she was drinking water, the terrifying roar of a lion was heard from the neighborhood. So it is a forest. So all these complexities are there. He was meditating on the bank of the river. He found a mother deer and he come to drink water. And then, and suddenly the mother deer heard a voice, roaring voice of what? A tiger. And the timid doe of tremulous glances was frightened beyond measure by the roar, and while still in the act of drinking, sprang to the other shore with a wild and distracted look in her eyes. So he just out of fear, she was drinking water, and hearing that voice of the lion, he jumped out, and being big with young, she delivered even while springing due to the shock that fear generated. So that means that deer give a birth to a baby deer, and the young baby being on thereupon fell into the current of the rivers. Now it's a very beautiful description. The deer came to drink the water of the Gandaki river, and Bharat was meditating on the bank of the river, and suddenly, hearing a roaring voice of a tiger, this deer, naturally out of fear, while drinking water, jumped, and probably she escaped, but she gave birth to a baby deer, and that baby deer was now in the river is flowing, so fell down, is probably getting washed away. Fear, delivery, the act of springing, separation from the flock, all this cumulative effect of all these circumstances distressed that deer so much that she fell down dead in a cave on the other side. So he jumped, and all this put together, the mother deer, bas, died. Now, the Rajarsi, this Bharat, who is the king, who was the king. Why Rajarsi? Rajarsi means he was the king. King means Raja. Rishi means a mendicant who is dedicated his life for God realization. No? Rishi. Rishi means sages. Rishi English is sages. So this Bharat was two together. He was the ex-Raja and also the Rishi, sage. This Rajarsi Bharat saw that forlorn and endangered calf of the deer being swept down by the current of the river. The baby deer has fallen into the river and is getting to be swept away. Overcome with piety for the motherless newborn, he caught it and brought it to his ashram. So he jumped into the water, giving up his meditation out of compassion. We appreciate compassion, is it not? But compassion may be a cause of attachment and danger in spiritual life. That's why they say always be detached, be detached, be detached. Because he thought, I'm compassionate. Everyone will appreciate that. No? What a great Bharat. He himself dedicated his meditation and just saved the life of a deer. No? It's very much a work of appreciation. Selfless work, we say. But for spiritual standpoint, see what happens now. So he brought that baby deer, and in his place where he is to live, that ashram, in the wooded area, where he used to do the puja and everything in his room. So he brought that deer. Now, Bharat's attachment to fawn. The Rajarsi was now possessed by the idea that the fawn was his own, and consequently got infatuated with it. Daily he fed it, fattened it, protected it from enemies, fondled it, and in every way tried to please the baby deer. In proportion to the increase of his interest in it, his zeal in his devotional practice declined until he gave them up totally, sometimes afterwards. See, your compassion has taken away your God. That's why it's be very careful in spiritual life. You do not know what anything can. That's why it is called the spiritual life is walking on the razor's edge. Very careful, otherwise you can be cut any moment. So very careful journey. Your attachment, how it enters. That's the finer thing. People, in the name of, we say, it is really so many incidents we know of, many stories about the sadhus who fell in love of duty, compassionate duty. Nobody has told, but he, out of his own compassion, get involved into it and get trapped into it. Then give up your higher goal, you get caught into that attachment. So he thought, he means Bharata thought, alas, the swift moving action of the wheel of time has separated this poor fawn from his parents and his flock. And it has taken refuge with me. I am his father, mother, brother, relative, and friend. So this poor baby deer have taken refuge. There is nobody in the world. The mom is dead. So dad, where he went away, we do not know. So he's segregated alone. And he has taken refuge in me now. So I should have to take care of him. Hmm? Putting his trust entirely in me, he knows none else. This means this deer does not know anybody in the world. He only knows me as his father, mother, everything. So even at the expense of my own interest, I am bound to protect, nourish, fondle, and in every way look after the interest of his calf of a deer, knowing as I do the sin of abandoning one who has sought refuge. It will create sin in me if I abandon someone. I am a king because his kingly characteristic is inside, no sanskara. Kings give refuge and protect that guy, no, with his own might. So the deer, this baby deer, has taken refuge in me. So I shall protect him with all my might and strength. This is duty of a good person. No? A good person gives refuge to a person who is in danger, difficulty. So I should do that. Even I lose my meditation, I lose my spiritual practice. That's okay. That is good to do. And we quote Swami Vivekananda said,
They have been born 1,000 times
Ah.
only to serve the one
yeah,
God.
so I will be born again and again to serve a person who has so long a dog is hungry. My religion is to feed the dog. So give up your meditation, give up your spiritual practice, and go for a dog care. We don't understand the spirit, and we wrongly take that. Bharat was bewildered here.
Wow.
See, he was such a wise person, such a king, such a knowledgeable person, so much advanced. His whole body was horripilation. Goosebump we had talked about, raised in such a high plight, but that also can drop you. Boom. Because there is a little attachment brings all these limitations. Understand? This is to be understood in spiritual life. Be careful. Anywhere it may happen, anyone it may, unless one is careful. And we have to say, yes, I love because God is there. That's a different thing. And also that love should be detached love. When it is comes attached, then it's problem.
But Maharaj's problem is not that he took the deer, his problem is that he stopped doing his practices.
And by how? Because distracted the mind from God to the deer, and because he's innocent, there is nobody to look after. If I don't look after, what will happen? It will be eaten away by some other animal. Huh? So I am responsible. Who have made you the responsibility? Even in the forest, the deer was in the deer. And you just got connected yourself and feel it's my responsibility. In many things, we take responsibility like that. It is good to serve others, but not to be trapped into that service to give up your God consciousness. Huh? Doing good is good, but not at the cost of your spiritual life. Isn't it? How many of you agree with this point? Doing good is good, not at the cost of your spirituality. Because how much good will you do? You will pull yourself down into that level. You have to help everyone to go up beyond Maya, ignorance, to get total freedom. Instead, you are drowning yourself. So, only it is our misleading mind gives this argument. Does not mean that you be selfish. No, you be unselfish. Do as best as you can do. But at the same time, think, let me serve God, not the deer. Bharat started serving the deer, not God. And Ramakrishna said, that lady who served as a nephew, and Ramakrishna, that lady said, Ramakrishna said, think of God. Well, no, I cannot do that. I have a nephew. You have a nephew? Okay. think that in the nephew is your Gopala, the Lord. Lord is there. And serve, bathe the baby, bathe the child, thinking you're bathing Gopala, feed the food. See, he's insisting in the child, God, Lord. But here, no, Lord God is gone. The dear and dear and dear. So you are bringing to the material aspect, spiritual aspect versus material aspect. So this is the very subtle thing that we have to learn reading. Many a worshipful person who followed the path of peace and service of the afflicted has, for the sake of such work, abandoned his own self-interest in important matters. In this way, getting infatuated with the form, he always came to be accompanied by it while sitting, lying, walking, standing, or eating. Ah, the baby deer is very innocent, eating, chewing some grass. It looks so good, no? And then you fondle it and then kiss it and this and as we do with the cats and dogs, no? Don't you do that? You get because it is your thinking is very innocent and that's good. But do you think that you are serving God or you are serving the cat or the dog only? So for loving a dog, you can get that much joy, what dog can give you. But if you serve God, then you can get joy of God as much God can give you through the cat, through the dog. So here is the same training. Fearing that it might be attacked by dogs and wolves, he took it also with him whenever he went out to collect grass, collect flour, fuel, leaves, fruits, roots, and water. Always carrying the baby like his own baby and to doing everything. Because otherwise some wolf may come, dog may come and bite it. Whenever it stopped on the way, whenever it stopped on the way interested in something or other, he took it on his shoulders or lap or embraced it and enjoyed intense delight in the doing so. As the dogs do. The dog walkers, what they do? Dog, when he's going, the dog wants to see something. And the dog walker will have to stand. Okay, let him see. Huh? He's eating some grass. They will have to wait for the finishing his eating of the grass. That means you forget your own personality. You identify with the personality of the dog and whatever he's doing. And that is the way life goes on. Even when he was engaged in worship, say performing some puja, he would now and then get up and have a look at the pond to assure himself that it is safe, and would pronounce his blessings on it, saying, "May you live safe without any danger befalling upon you." If for a time it could not be seen nearby, he would become grief-stricken like one who has lost his all. If sometimes the deer has gone here and there, little around, and he will be anxious, not seeing the baby deer. Owing to the intensity of his attachment to it, he felt heartbroken at its absence and bemoaning over its fate repeatedly. And he would, in that most pitiable way, say to himself, "Ah, would this pitiable young deer, orphan of its mother, doe, come back at all to me, trusting me to be a good man out of his own innocence, overlooking the perversities of luckless fellow like myself, cruel and mean like a mere hunter? Shall I ever see it, thanks to the protecting hand of the Lord, browsing somewhere in the woodlands of this ashram?" So he thought, yes, left I don't find. So he gave up his practice and ran after searching after the deer. I hope it has not been eaten up by any predatory creatures, a wild dog or a wolf moving about singly or in herd. Sun, the universal benefactor and the repository of the Vedas, is about to set, and the fund, a treasure deposited with me for safe custody by the doe, has not yet returned. Will that gem of fawn come back to my unlucky self and delight his own folk with his childish frolic? As it plays about, and I sit there with my eyes half closed in fake samadhi, it approaches me in a mood of love quarrel for not participating in its play. And in order to know whether I am really samadhi, prods me with the tip of his horn, soft like a water, with a show of great hesitation and dread. So he's describing all the, as when I'm meditating, as if I'm in samadhi, so he comes near me and mm, moves around me and giving some touch of his, say, hair, or what you call the, and then he, when he's so loving, so caring, and I cannot day and night thinking of the deer. When he pulls away the grass where the hobby, the sacrificial offering for the god, is arranged, and I happen to take him to task for the same, then, like any boy of the hermitage, he withdraws from all play and remains motionless and with all his limbs controlled. What great austerities must this land have done to deserve this good fortune of being marked with a tiny and beautiful hoof print of this young black buck, Krishna Saro, name is Black Buck. For these hoof print, besides cheering me with the prospect of tracing the whereabouts of their owner, make his land a suitable holy place for the performance of all sacred rites by those who seek heavenly felicity and worldly affair. So he was day and night thinking. The sun is setting. Where is the deer gone? I don't find it. Let me go and search for it. But in day and night meditation time, walking time, every time thinking of deer, and it's my responsibility, baby deer, so darling, so sweet, so loving. He is innocent, he does not know anything. The dogs may have beaten him or wolf who have been eaten him. So thinking, nothing else but that deer and deer. So we'll end here because time is up. So we'll read the list. It will be actually, he'll be totally overwhelmed with this. And then when he dies, he will be thinking of deer. And its story says he will be born as a deer in next life. Understand? What we think, so we become. If you think of God, you will be God. If you think of the ghost, you will be ghost. Ramakrishna said, is it not? Who Ramakrishna's disciple? Who is the name? Who is to play with the ghost? Niranjan or Jogin, na Niranjan. Niranjan or Jogin, one of the direct disciples, he used to go to the planchet, calling the soul dead, they are past, and pulling them down to talk to them. So he was practicing. Then Ramakrishna said, if you think day and night of the ghosts, departed souls, you will be like them. But if you think of God, you will be God. So what will you do? So be careful what we think. Okay, so now the question is, you read a verse that said his intellect drowned in the ocean of his heart, referring to Bharata's intense bhakti. How can this mood complement a Jnana Yoga practice when we seek to balance both? No, it is a language of the bhakti school. Bhakti school says that your own heart is filled with the ocean of love. No? In Jnana, you will say it is filled with the ocean of Satchidananda. But Satchidananda is dry or it is also joy. You have to understand, when really mind goes to Brahman, Satchidananda, it is all joy, all bliss. But here, bliss aspect is not emphasized. In Jnana Yoga, not this, not this, not this. So it is dry, giving up. Bhakti Yoga, it is God, it is God, it is God. So the joy part comes because of that. They emphasize on the ananda part or blissful part, and they emphasize on the negative part. This world is unreal, so it is not Brahman, it is not that, not the body, not the mind, not this, not this. Everything we see, it is not the reality. It is only apparent reality. It is only changing reality. So, no, no, no. Naturally, you become dry, apparently. But when you clear all these negativities, then what remains? The Satchidananda remains. Then you will be full of Satchidananda. So the expression are different. One ocean of intellect drowned into the ocean of heart. Heart is the center of love, feeling. So you drown into the ocean of that reality. But you can think, I'm not this, take two thoughts together. I'm not the body, not divine, I'm Shivoham, Shivoham. I'm Shiva, I'm Shiva. I'm consciousness, I'm bliss. So if you practice both two, then your intellect can drown into the ocean of heart. No problem. Heart is the place of heartness, the heart is the place of feeling, feeling emotions, all this. And intellect is something, is mind, is thinking some thoughts. Thoughts should be drowned into the consciousness or Satchidananda, blissful aspect of Brahman. Then it can be really, you can feel the joy. That's why our path, Ramakrishna mission, or Ramakrishna order, or Vedanta idea, as preached by Ramakrishna, it is not dry. You should have to blend these two ideas, and then you feel your Vedanta is not exclusive of bhakti. Vedanta is only saying one side, not this, not this, not this. But it is there in Vedanta, but I am this, I am this, I am this. But here in Ramakrishna tradition, we offer both side practice. So not the material thing, but Satchidananda. Not the material thing, but the Satchidananda. So if you think like that, your intellect can be drowned into the ocean of love. And it will be, you will be fully developed like that of a joyful, cheerful, spiritual personality. Okay. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. So we'll have 7:30 class, and that is on Jivan Mukti Gita. That Gita, the song of a Jivan Mukti, the state of Jivan Mukti. How is that?
What did we? Verse number?
Verse number we ended at 23.